Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Spencer Macpherson about School Spirits, premiering on Paramount Plus March 9th. Welcome to the show, man. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
I mean, it's a crazy feeling because I remember when the show was announced, the cast and everything, and now episodes are coming out there and being disseminated into the world. Is it starting to hit you a little bit that people are going to see what you've been working on?
I think everyone that was a part of this show is just so incredibly proud of it, and we're so excited for it to no longer just be ours and then to be everyone who gets to see it. And I think people are in for quite a ride.
And you know what? It's funny, too, because we're going to get into the show a little bit. I feel like we're still kind of walking on eggshells a little bit because, you know, we don't want to say much. You know what I mean? We want people to come in fresh. I mean, there's the whodunit component of this is something I really, really enjoyed and everything. But in terms of, you know, the twists and turns and certain things happen in different episodes, like when you read the script for this, did you kind of see that instantly? Like, wow, this is a whodunit that has that doesn't really waste its time with its twists and turns? Because sometimes it takes a while, right? After like six episodes. This one, we're not wasting much time with School Spirits, let's be honest.
No. Every episode has this like incredibly epic twist or turn. And even while we were out shooting it, the whole cast would just like barricade ourselves in our rooms to just read the next script because every single one has this like crazy cliffhanger, plot twist. But even reading the pilot script when I was auditioning, I was like, this is it. This is cool. Yeah.
Xavier is very complex, mysterious. There's some things that we kind of find out about him that make it seem like because like, you know, even when people see the trailers for the show, it's like, you know, he's all like right away the main suspect, right? Let's say, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
The red herring or whatever.
Yeah, like the red herring, like, and then there's this like ping pong match a little bit where like he does things that make him suspicious and then does things that, okay, he's in the clear. And then the ping pong match continues. Is that kind of what you were expecting it when you're reading the script and auditioning for Xavier? Like this ping pong match of like, he's suspicious. He's not, well, in other words, he's sus. Remember the podcast we all put Among Us?
Yeah.
He's sus. He's not sus. Like there's a ping pong
I'm hip,
match.
I know sus. Yeah.
Oh man, I haven't played Among Us in a long time. I remember playing that so much during the pandemic. Yeah, but there's a ping pong match of that.
Yeah. For sure. He's very complex and he's hard to lock down. I think that's, you know, very intentional. Especially in the first couple of episodes where you see these flashbacks, you know, juxtaposed with what you're seeing in the present day, which is, you know, very shut down and aloof and kind of like withholding. You can't really get a read on him. But in the flashbacks, he's charming, he's quick-witted, you see why Maddie would have liked him. And I think that kind of like he's a very polarizing character, and I think that kind of like inability to read or pin down is very intentional. It's something that he's aware of, and especially with, you know, his dad, I think that's like a very learned trait. That's something, you know, keeping his card.
That's a good segue. I mean, by the time this interview is out, the first 2 episodes are out on Paramount Plus. So I will say minor spoilers or whatever to people watching this. I mean, like you said, with his dad, you do find out that his dad is the sheriff. His dad is in a really interesting situation where he has to kind of protect his son, but he's got to do his job. And I feel like I just wanted to know, what were those like conversations like with him, like the father-son dynamic, like from an acting perspective? Because I feel like that's a huge part that gets thrown in there. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm going to go on a tiny little side road here for a second. But when I got to Vancouver, I'd never been to Vancouver before. I did this movie years ago called Extracurricular, where I played twins with this guy named Keenan Tracy. And so first person I contacted when I got out to Vancouver, got to hang out with Keenan. Meet the cast like maybe a week later, and we're at the dinner. I'm like, hey guys, who is playing my dad? Who's playing Sheriff Baxter? And they're like, oh, it's this really, really talented dude. He's from here. Ian Tracy. I'm like, what? Like that's Keenan's dad. So I initially like instantly felt like a kinship towards him. He's such a talented actor. I think we were straddling that line, and we continue to throughout the season of, it's a very strained relationship. Mom isn't necessarily in the picture, and dad definitely is consumed with his work. He is definitely like a product of like that kind of like masculinity of yesteryear, and Xavier kind of searches for someone to be vulnerable outside of his dad, because his dad just doesn't get it.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, his dad's also like, Xavier's dad's working with the information he has, and you could tell there's like, and throughout the episodes, there's like I don't know, but like there is a little bit of when they talk, when you first find out at the vigil that he's Xavier's dad, it's like, is there you're my son, but do I trust what you're saying? A little bit there, you know what I mean? Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So maybe there is tension that we know about before that, like the dynamic was maybe it was tough, you know what I mean?
For sure, it's strained, and Xavier's not like, he's a bit of a rebel, and I imagine that's a bit of a headache for a sheriff.
Your character just takes people's phones all the time.
Yeah, he's a bit of a sketchy.
What's he doing? Is he playing Among Us?
yeah, exactly. Giving some of some Angry Birds.
A lot of people follow Milo Manheim on TikTok.
Yeah,
shocker, right? And he posted a lot of stuff with the cast, basically. You guys had Thanksgiving together and everything, and like a lot of events, because you're with that cast the whole time, you know what I mean? So my segue is, what was that like with this cast specifically?
This cast was so cool. I was the only Canadian of the main cast. Mm-hmm. So Thanksgiving, they all, I don't even know when Americans celebrate.
Yeah, they did the Canadian Thanksgiving, right?
They all kind of they came down to our level, and they did the Canadian Thanksgiving, and it was great. I mean, I have like honestly nothing but the best words to say about this cast. Everyone's so talented, such different actors too, and that's exciting when you can like do a scene with someone and learn something entirely different or from the way that you see it. And I just like, there's not a false note in this cast. I think everyone crushes it, and on top of that, they're all such like sweet, genuine people. So
there was a question I wanted to ask in the beginning of the interview, but I think we got kind of mesmerized by Xavier's arc. But and it's tough because I kind of went in fresh. I watched the trailer once and I didn't really. I like going in to watch things fresh. I don't know about you.
Same here.
It's a good thing there. So you're watching this fresh, and it's a really cool concept what they've done with school spirits, where you have the spirits and you have the living. I don't know what you called it on set. Like, what did you distinguish it between something?
Yeah, the dead and the living, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. The spirits.
I'm repping the dead today, I guess.
Yeah, I know. But it reminds me of it's funny because Peyton List is in the show, and it reminds me of like in the Karate Kid and Cobra Kai when they're wearing like the skeletons.
Right. Yeah.
But no, it was interesting because it's unique the way, like, it's a unique concept for a show. So I'm wondering if you kind of noticed that immediately in the script when you were kind of reading for everything. Like, it is unique, right? Where you have these ghosts that are, that's the word, living dead ghosts. The ghosts. Yeah. The ghosts kind of around, and they're in limbo and everything, and then seeing what's going on. Like, I thought it was really unique how it was done. Did you notice that immediately in the script?
Yeah, and I think something I immediately noticed as well was how it subverts that kind of concept. I mean, a lot of the humor in the show comes from the dead. Yeah, it comes from these people that have been, trapped in these halls for years on end, and then they probably are so annoyed of each other, and that's just like immediately a comedic setup, and then you get a lot of the drama and kind of the weight, and whatever from people grieving in the real world. And that flip immediately, I was like, okay, cool. This isn't yeah, this is original.
And what is your mindset from an acting perspective, Spencer, with Xavier, knowing that he has that history with, you know, the the ghost, like the newly ghost who's trying to figure out what happened. There's like, and then you see the flashback, so there's like crossovers there, and then there's kind of like the living, so to speak, and he's figuring out there is that kind of crossover because there's flashbacks. You know what I mean? So that's a unique kind of acting experience, in my opinion, too. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was something I talked about with Megan and Nate Trinrud, the creators of the show, right out the jump when I got to Vancouver. It was just the idea of really making us a separation between flashback Xavier and present day Xavier.
Yeah.
And I think I think that came through, and I think that kind of you know, he's a character with a lot of walls, and hopefully as the season progresses, you kind of get to see these two very concrete, like separate verse sides of himself kind of mesh, and those walls come down. And but yeah, I love that format as like a Lost fan, as like I just love flashback, like just building context is cool.
I'm asking this from an acting perspective and from a storyteller perspective. Obviously, different characters, different TV shows. You were Hunter in Degrassi: The Next Generation. Is it safe to say that a lot of your experiences from an actor perspective on Degrassi helped you and prepared you to play Xavier on School Spirits?
I think that every job you do kind of informs the next one, and you take something you learn from there, and you steal something you loved about that actor, and you kind of just you take everything with you. But Degrassi was, I mean, that's such a, you know, iconic Canadian institution, and it was an incredible like learning ground. I know a bunch of people you've interviewed have been from the halls of Degrassi, and I feel like that was like a second school for me. I grew up on that show and with those people.
It's so funny when I interviewed Jennifer Robertson, who's on Ginny and Georgia with Sarah Weisglass, who played your twin sister in Degrassi, right. And that was one of like, the first things she said. And it was like, she was like, there's a lot of people that we recognize like from Degrassi.
Yeah. Yeah, Ginny and Georgia, like, it has a lot of
Degrassi alum, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's super crazy. Is it also crazy to think too that you're on a show where, because there's a lot of different ways to watch TV these days, right? There's like dual viewing, second screen consumption, stuff that I kind of, when I was doing my master's, was researching in communication studies, where like you're on your phone watching things, you're watching TV, right? But then there's things like this, I feel like, where you got to put the phone away and like kind of focus and play detective a little bit, because you'll miss things, you know what I mean? Like the active viewing and the passive viewing. Are you prepared that you're on a, like, when you're making it, are you prepared that you're on a show where like the audience has to be a dialed in detective, or do you think about that a bit after you wrap?
I definitely think about that as I was doing it. I mean, what immediately comes to mind is like watching it with my parents and my family, and being like, watch, like, you know, I love, I mean, I feel like, yeah, like, I don't know, like that kind of, it's not one of those shows to be like a passive
phones
viewer.
Down. You could play Among Us. You could play Among Us another time. Phones down. You can play Among Us another time. Watch the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. 3 words to describe School Spirits without super big kind of spoilers.
Ooh. This is one of those ones where like I need to just have it in my locker and ready to go, but I haven't thought about
fun.
it.
I mean, it's fun. I mean, I'll help you with some. You know, it's thrilling. It's fun.
Mystery. Grief. And charm.
Those are great. Those are good. I just kind of set you up with that one, with the thrilling. I said thrilling, and it just clued in. You were like, all right, I got 3.
All right.
And before we oh, sorry, what were you gonna say?
No. It's just I just saw the Galifianakis and the Hangover numbers above my head, and it was.
I forgot about. I haven't watched that movie in a long time, man.
Classic.
It's been, oh man, I might have to go back to. Yeah, there's some classics. Hangover. There are some movies that like I can watch over and over again without getting bored. Like that one. Superbad is another one for me that I could do.
Superbad. I gotta throw Horrible Bosses in that mix. It doesn't get enough love, but that's a funny movie.
Do you have a favorite movie of all time?
I mean, this is such an interesting question, but I would have to say A Clockwork Orange.
I interviewed Malcolm McDowell like last month for Son of a Critch.
That's so cool. I know Colton Gobo worked on that show with him, and I was chatting with him about it. I was like,
yeah, who I've interviewed too. He's a 2-time guest on Pop Turner.
That's awesome.
Well, my favorite movie of all time is School of Rock.
Oh, great movie. Linklater, man.
Yeah,
I love
that movie. I can watch that movie. I can never get tired of that movie. It's a weird thing. And like I've logged that movie so many times. You know what I mean?
And you get way more. Like I feel like it's one of those movies where like I saw it as a kid, and when I watched it as an adult, like almost even better. Like it just doesn't. There's something for everyone there.
And then like the funniest thing about that one, man. 2 quick things about School of Rock because I find it really funny. But one thing is I interviewed Adam Pascal, who was in Rent, who's like Theo in the band that kicks out Jack Black. So I got to like chat with him about that. But the whole thing, you've seen School of Rock, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. The Battle of the Bands is the best thing ever because one, I don't know if you've seen that meme online. I actually like bring it out every couple of months as a reminder. Like I have it saved on my phone, but it's like a photo of the Battle of the Bands. And it's like the true hero of School of Rock is the concert promoter that got like 500 kids during a school day at a Battle of the Bands.
Yeah.
Like that show is packed. And it's probably like the middle of a Wednesday.
Yeah. No questions asked. Let's rock. Yeah.
And that song that they play, like School of Rock lost to No Vacancy because that song Heartsick is a great song. Everyone online, when they search that song, is like, now I know why they won.
You know what? Yeah.
It's a good song. Like
I was reading something about the guy Spider. And like he took an turn in his career.
He's like in politics now.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in politics now. And then no, absolutely. Spencer, this was so much fun. Thank you so much for joining me on Pop Turner, man. Seriously, I really appreciate it.
Been a pleasure, Peter. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. First 2 episodes of School Spirits on Paramount Plus March 9th, and then more episodes are going to kind of roll out. Your Instagram account, is it just your name? Is it just Spencer McPherson?
J. Spencer Mac.
J. Spencer Mac. They can follow you and everything. And absolutely. Well, this has been Pop Turner. YouTube.com/Pop Turner for previous episodes. Till next time, this is Spencer McPherson, who plays Xavier in School Spirits. First 2 episodes dropping on Paramount Plus March 9th. And Petey Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.